Fresh, and this is our second share out for Spicefield Kitchen. I'm Brandon.
I'm Sadie.
I'm David.
And I'm Ari.
Alright. So looking into the business, we found, similar to before, that it has three main value props. First is its care. Obviously, it's good quality and taking care of animals, soil, plants, and then of course, for example, using things that aren't necessarily recommended by other farmers or by the status quo because they think it's good for the environment. Like for example, their not use of irrigation systems. Second is their value for education and their emphasis on a well-educated community, especially when it pertains to sustainability and nutritional eating and habits. They've already started to pursue this goal with, of course, their programs focused on education that are approved by the Ohio State education system. And then finally is their locality. Of course, they're one of the few farms located in Cuyahoga National Valley. That right away separates them from a lot of other establishments. But they do have really close ties to a very popular and already established restaurant in Cleveland. So while they do have their message and their goals of pursuing agricultural sustainability and nutritional education, just like a lot of nonprofits in the United States, they're having a hard time sort of getting the money necessary to pursue their goal. Of course, we heard earlier that Chef Bevan-Roth started a $1 million venture with only about $500,000. So that's going to be the overtone of our presentation and sort of the theme of our solutions, just trying to get money in the pockets of Spicefield Company, or Kitchen. Always a good one.
Now, in our research, we found that there are 450,000 people in the Cleveland area alone living in food deserts. So that shows that there is a need for Chef Bevan-Roth's company.
Okay, so yeah, there's a lot of people, there's a big market for Chef Bevan-Roth, and there's like one of the bigger demographics we're going to focus on are just people and schools living in these food deserts. However, the study done by the New York University, Stanford, New Chicago found that it isn't necessarily the lack of access to grocery stores and high price of food or healthy food in the United States that contributes to this nutritional disparity in these food deserts, but it's actually just the lack of education pertaining to healthy foods in these food deserts that causes all these issues with nutrition. And that's something we want to focus on sort of as our target demographic, is just focusing on helping this population. So we've kind of separated our main demographics into three different areas. First is the teachers, specifically teachers in inner city schools who are in charge of, as we found in our interviews, sort of organizing, creating, and planning field trips. They're the ones who would be actually setting up the communication and ties between their school and their class and Spicefield Kitchen. So they're super important to start honing in on if Spicefield Kitchen wants to expand its consumer base into these inner city schools. Second is the schools themselves. They're the ones who are in charge of approving these teachers' ideas and essentially funding the whole connection between Spice Kitchen and the schools. And we found that there's actually quite an incentive for schools to start looking to stay with Spice or partner with Spice Company. As the Brookings Institute found in the study, higher nutrition or nutritional eating in schools can contribute up to 40% increased test scores for a student. And the numbers are even bigger for students who qualify for free lunches. So essentially low-income students or students who have low-income families. Meaning that schools would actually want to start looking to partner with Spice Company as a demographic. And then finally is just the donors. They're the ones who would actually be funding the brunt of the connections between Spice Company and these inner city schools who might not always be able to afford it. And donors have been contributing a lot in recent times. 2017 was the recent high, and in fact, one of the biggest sectors for growth in the charitable donations industry was health-based, environmental-based, and animal-based charities, which all fit in the category of spice.
Now, going back to Share 1, accountability and trustworthiness are key factors in getting people to donate to nonprofit organizations. And recently, we found that 84% of people find that businesses that have websites are more credible than those without an online presence. So our initial hypothesis was, if we can create a good website, then it would be an effective means of finding funding. Now, recently we've been reading the book, Nonprofit Management 101. And specifically, we've been focusing on the chapters of website design and social media. And from this, we found that websites need to have a clear way of addressing their problem. They must be direct and specific to the audiences that they're trying to reach. And then most importantly, they must be actionable. If a website lacks a clear call to action, then people will automatically find it as disorganized as well as undriven. So essentially, this is the current website for Spicefield Kitchen. And as you can see, it's only one page. And so it needs a lot of development. And we created 4 changes and additives in order to take the research that we've done and make his website better. Firstly is the homepage. The homepage is so important because that's the first thing people see. And you need to really grab the person, inspire them with a story, and make sure that they care about your cause. So we would be addressing things like the issue of food deserts and malnutrition in the United States, how education can fix that, and the simple call to action of just raising awareness and sharing the information on the website. We'd also have an About Us tab, which would share Chef Bebenroth's story, which would just simply make people more comfortable with the organization, putting a face to the cause. And specifically for teachers, we'd have a Programs tab, which would go in deep specifics about the courses and tours so that it can make teachers' jobs easier to set up field trips, as well as have a donation button. Now, as we developed the website, we started thinking about social media. And we found that 3 out of 4 adults in the United States use social media. And as well as 90% of businesses found that if they have social media, then they will get more exposure. As well as half of those people found that there was an increase in sales.
So going off of what Brandon said, now that we know that teachers are the ones that actually facilitate the field trips, we wanted to find a way to actually reach out to them and drag their attention and find ways that they actually schedule field trips and how they start the creative process of making them. So what we did was we interviewed teachers and we found research online that says basically 56% of a study shows that 56% of teachers actually turn to social media at one point during their teaching career to actually find and help them with teaching lessons, which is why we really wanted to focus on a strong social media source. And also, along with teachers, we found that donors also look on social media and websites because that's what really helps them to know about the program itself. So we found a study that shows that if you have a website or a social media page that has a specific location for donors to actually use the donation process where it's easy to follow, they understand and that they know that donations are welcome and actually wanted, that they can receive up to a 40% larger donation than regular organizations would, and which led us to conclude to a really strong social media source and a website which David kind of outlined of what we wanted to include in that. But we found a study that up to 71% of individuals are on Facebook. So, and it's actually even higher for teachers. There's an even higher percentage. So we really found in conclusion that a strong Facebook page of Spicefield and Kitchen would actually reach the donors and the teachers a lot better, and actually like common folk, because it'll really help them connect to Spicefield and Kitchen and know about it.
So going off Ari's point, we wanted to do more research about farms like Spicefield Kitchen. So we found Stone Barn Center for Food and Agriculture. Going off Ari's point, I just spoke to them this morning and they told us that their Facebook page and their website draw in the most amount of people. Also, they have a great membership program. That kind of led us to add a membership program to Spicefield Kitchen as well. As of now, they have many tiers to their membership program, and they get more expensive and add more perks as you go on. This is also a great source of revenue for them, and when they were first starting, it really helped them to raise a lot of money to be able to give money to schools to be able to come to their programs. Okay, so we want to add a membership program to Spicefield Kitchen and to raise money and build a community. So by giving this will help word of mouth, because by feeling a connection to Spicefield Kitchen, more people will share it with their friends and help with the word of mouth aspect. So we came up with a couple of perks that we were thinking that we could add for the membership program, which would include percentage off of yoga classes, a newsletter in the mail, or percentage off at the restaurant, early access to their events, or early access to their CSA program.
Thank you.
Thank you.